Hi, I'm Holly Hune, and I'm the Director of Talent Management for the Bibb County School District.
And hello, I'm Michelle Licata, and I work for BloomBoard as a Senior Partnerships Manager.
And we're excited to tell you today about our partnership and how it's been working at Bibb.
Absolutely. So today's agenda is really going to focus on Bibb's story and Bibb's process and how Bibb County, Georgia was able to look at the ways that apprenticeship works and how they could implement this program in their district to help their paraprofessionals grow into certified teachers.
So initially, we thought we had a recruitment problem, but we really didn't. When we looked around our district, we realized that we had a lot of amazing talent right there in our classrooms with our paraprofessionals. They were already in the system, already wanting to do the work. And the next big hurdle was just figuring out why they weren't making that leap to the teaching position. So, what we realized pretty quickly was that it wasn't a motivation problem at all. When we surveyed our paras, about 60% of them really wanted to make that transition to the teacher of record. However, there were three things kind of standing in their way: time, money, and real fear and anxiety about going back to school. So many of them have additional responsibilities outside of their, daily work as a para. They have second jobs, they have children, aging parents, just additional things that kind of kept them from going back to school. So, all right. So when I came across the apprenticeship model with BloomBoard, I was super excited because this really seemed to take all the issues off the table. They were able to, work and learn right there on the job. They didn't have to quit their job and go do something else. We kind of built it around their reality. They were able to stay in the classroom and earn their degree at the same time. And really, this was the biggest shift when we introduced this model. I had about 60 people that wanted to be a part of this project, this process, whereas before I hadn't gotten any movement at all.
So ultimately, there are multiple funding streams, and we call this kind of like a braided approach to the funding. And so there will be a part of the contract that allows for the candidate contribution. And that really is up to the district if they're going to force the candidate to pay a contribution or they're going to waive that. Then there's a big lump sum, which is the workforce funding. And we work hand in hand with your district to get the workforce funding. And then there is the district contribution. And the district contribution is typically the payer of last resorts and comes from whichever the other funds didn't pay for yet.
And I'd like to add something to that particular topic before we move on. This is where BloomBoard really comes in because they know all about how to get these funds braided and how to ensure that we're getting really every penny possible. They make sure that there are no deadlines missed, and they really just leave nothing to chance.
Thanks. Yeah, we try. So when we look at delivery models of traditional higher education models versus the models that we use with our accredited university partnerships, ultimately what we're looking at is apprenticeship style. And so as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, it is a whole learn by doing and a whole job embedded process. And we are very adept, if I may say, sorry, at helping people with passing their exams. So we have so far have 100% completion rate, which is amazing. And we are just super excited about the apprenticeship model and the learning by doing. And so with that, it is kind of a competency-based strategy in the fact that the teachers or the paras, excuse me, that are becoming teachers, they are going to be involved in their classrooms, in their work-based classroom, and they're going to be building portfolios as evidence based upon an artifact that they'll put together. This is completely hands-on, and they're learning by doing. And so instead of a 4-year degree where we would go to school to be a teacher and then we do our student teaching, the student teaching becomes infused from the very beginning of the program.
And I think what really set this apart was it allowed them, again, to not have to quit their day job in order to be able to meet all these requirements. They don't have to go to a class several times a week, whether it's online or in person. They're able to, do everything on the job, and it's directly tied to student achievement and kind of what they're doing every day anyway. So it's really just tailor-made. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about our selection process, and what we wanted to make sure of is, because we did have so many people that were interested in it, that we didn't want to look at it as who we were weeding out, but really making sure that we were selecting folks who were going to be successful. So we started with that interest survey. One of the requirements was that they must hold an associate's degree. This was important for us for several different reasons, but one being funding. It allows us to ensure that they only have to take X number of hours with Lake Erie College, and it was very standard. And so we just kind of wanted to make that part of our process initially. They had to come to a mandatory information session, which we thought was important because it really kind of showed us that they meant business, that they were serious, that they, were going to show up to learn everything they needed to learn. And it also allowed them to see, hey, is this going to be for me or not? Then they had to do a candidate application. The principal at their school had to recommend them. And then they had a face-to-face interview. So after all that, we selected 5 amazing candidates who are just doing an amazing job. And so what it actually looks like, again, everything is portfolio-based learning. They have lots of coaching and feedback, and they get that from several different people. So obviously, BloomBoard and Lake Erie College provide them with a lot of that coaching and feedback, as well as a mentor that's assigned in their building. And then they get a lot of district support from me. Then they're in a cohort model, and they start out as paras, and by the end, they become the teacher of record.
Excellent. So as Holly said, Lake Erie College, and Holly is in Georgia, and Lake Erie is one of our accredited university partners. And we love to work with them. And the way that we choose the university partner is based upon state policy. So we do have approximately 12 university partners, and that is all based upon state policy. And so this is sort of what it looks like when you go into the course. And this is the candidate's experience in their learning. So steps 1 and 2 are getting started, and they participate in the learn, which is how they're going to understand what they are learning for this artifact. Then they're going to build their artifact, submit it, and review the results. What I love about this model is that the reviewing the results really and truly helps for the person to be in almost a mastery approach to learning, because the professor will give time-stamped, annotated feedback to the candidate on all of their artifacts and enable that person to go back and to actually learn. So it's not just like an A, B, C, D, or F. It is an actual opportunity for learning and redoing so that they can grow as an educator.
So we definitely had some things to figure out in order to make sure that everything ran smoothly. I already talked to you about our candidate selection process, and we do feel like we've found a really good group with that. The other thing that we really wanted to make sure of from the beginning was that we had principal buy-in from day one. Because the paras, are hired to do a certain job, a specific job for the principals, we needed for them to be aware that there are going to be times that they might be pulled from that in order to fulfill a requirement for the apprenticeship. And so making sure that they kind of knew everything up front was super important because we wanted everybody to come away with us with a very, positive experience. And the principals are always the biggest proponents for the paras. So everything's been going really smoothly where that's concerned. We also wanted to make sure that we were protecting their time because the candidates have a lot to do. Obviously they have to still do their job, which they were hired for, but then they have to meet all the requirements for the apprenticeship. So we just wanted to make sure that their time was protected. And then a big piece also was the accountability piece. So we're super, super lucky in that BloomBoard meets with me every 2 weeks to kind of make sure that I know exactly where the candidates are, how many assignments they've submitted, just exactly where they are in the process. And then I follow up with the candidates with, lots of, hey, you're doing great. I see that you've submitted X number of assignments, doing so great, or kind of come and nudge them a little bit and say, hey, what can I do to help you get moving with some of these assignments that haven't been submitted yet? We just really want to make sure that nobody falls behind, and it's been very helpful. And then some things that we kind of didn't necessarily know at the beginning, and had to make sure that we learned that lesson so we didn't have to learn it again. And the first thing is that funding is super important. Maximizing that funding is not a simple process. So again, thankfully, BloomBoard really walks you through that whole thing. There are lots of hoops that you have to jump through to get the grants and the workforce dollars, but they really help you put those puzzle pieces together. The candidates, the next thing that I wasn't really anticipating was that the candidates kind of started slow. I was a little nervous initially because they weren't submitting things. And after I met with them a couple times, I realized that they were just so nervous. They were afraid that if they submitted something and it wasn't right, that, the world was going to come crashing down. So really had to help them understand that no, this whole model is built so that you are going to be successful if you do the work. And if you hand something in and it's not 100% right, you're going to get feedback. Then you're going to resubmit and go from there. Well, once they figured that out, it just went gangbusters. I think they all finished early, honestly. They did such a great job. That support really kind of was a game changer. Then the mentor selection is also huge. We wanted to make sure that we picked the right folks to be mentors. And for the most part, I think we did a good job with that. But I think we might have some sort of vetting process moving forward for those mentors, as opposed to, just kind of letting principals pick and going from there. So those were the main things we had to learn. Just making sure that we had that structure in place and touch points along the way, regular check-ins, just to make sure that everybody was going to be successful.
And so why this process, this program and this style of program, apprenticeship style, grow your own style, works? It really and truly is my favorite probably part about it is that as a former educator, I know that the paras in our buildings were always so prepared. And if a teacher was ever out sick, the para in the classroom was really going to carry things home for us. And so the guest teacher or the substitute teacher really needed to rely on the para, but the para was the one that was still a para. And so what I love about this is it just removes as the barriers and allows us opportunity. As Holly talked about before, the people have second jobs, they have care, and they're caring for others. And, they may have financial, barricades in the way. And this removes those barriers. It also really shows how much you honor and value the people that are working within your district and within your community. So this isn't just something that's going to impact your school. This is impacting the students who are going to impact the future, as well as this is honoring your community because these wonderful human beings, they live, work, reside, love their community. And it really does build that internal pipeline. You don't, there isn't as much go look for people outside of the gates because they're within the gates already. And of course, it aligns with real work in the fact that when are we going to use this? Well, you're using it every single day as you're going.
And then we just wanted to share a few pictures with you, these really powerful moments. We had a signing day, really made the commitment feel real, and the candidates felt super celebrated. Their families came, the superintendent spoke, the news was there, and it really put some visibility around them and what they're doing, and built a lot of goodwill and pride. And we were certainly proud of them. It was amazing.
I'm going to press play on a video that we have of a candidate.
Hello, my name is Shaquita Manson. I am a kindergarten paraprofessional at John R. Lewis Elementary School. I am so fortunate to be a part of the Parent-to-Teacher program. I was so happy when I was chosen to be in this program. This program has done great things for me. Being in this program with Lake Erie College, I've met a great professor and some great people along the way. I've pushed myself, they've pushed me. I've encouraged myself, they encouraged me. And it just felt so good to be a part of something that had my back and supported me. I'm very proud of myself because I actually finished my first semester April 9, 2026, and our first semester ends May 4th, which means I have all 100 in my classes. If I could tell someone about this program, I would say go for it. Don't doubt yourself. Everything is possible as long as you believe you can do it. Never give up. And just remember, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for little smiles. The one that come every day ready to learn, and the ones that makes a difference. So, again, I am very proud of me, and I am also proud of those who I met along the way who is doing the program along with me. Again, thank you, Bibb County, for an excellent program. This has really been a great experience. Thank you.
And we're really proud of her too. So,
yeah, and I think we might have time for one more, Holly. Which should we do this?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to set it up for us or just play?
Let's just hit play and hear from Miss Austin.
Perfect.
Hi, my name's Angela Austin. I am a paraeducator at Brown Elementary School. I chose to be a part of the Parent-to-Teacher program because I can continue to do what I love at the school I love with the students I love. I am very proud to have been chosen to be one of the first people to be a part of this program. It has just opened so many doors and helped me be able to realize my dream of becoming an educator. Something I would tell someone who would be or wants to be a teacher is remember that this is a calling and a passion, and that whatever you do in this field, you'll be able to make a positive impact on students' lives. That's something that you have to remember every single day as you're in the classroom. Thank you.
Yep, she's doing a great job.
Yeah. Do you want to close this out, Holly?
Well, I would just say that, this has been a great experience, not just for the candidates, but for me as well. I love being able to help our paraprofessionals go from being an assistant in the classroom to being the teacher of record and realizing their dreams and doubling their salary. I mean, there's just no downside to it. As a district, being able to honor people that already work for us and already give so much to our district has just been very affirming. And
Right. Well, thank you so much for having us.